Hi, I'm Bryson Moore, and I help lead the team at Freedom Begins Here. You may have never heard of us, and that's okay. But there's no doubt that you've dealt with, directly or indirectly, the crisis that we're out to tackle. As Chuck Swindoll says, it's the #1 secret sin in our churches. Before I go into who we are and what we do, I want to give you some statistics that explain why we do what we do. In the next few minutes, as you're listening to this, over 300,000 people will have viewed pornography on the internet. In fact, porn is the #1 thing people search for online, more than sports, more than news, more than cheap airline tickets. You probably know that porn is a big business. What you may not know is that the pornography industry is larger than Microsoft, Google, Amazon, eBay, Yahoo, Apple, Netflix, and Earthlink combined. And you can find over 400 million pages of pornography online. That's more than one page for every person who lives in the United States. Almost half of everyone who uses the internet, 43% of us, look at pornography online. This is the one that breaks my heart every time I say it. Kids ages 12 to 17 years old are the largest consumers of internet pornography. Most of them are getting hooked while doing research for a homework assignment. Now, what if I told you that 7 out of 10 lay leaders in your church are looking at pornography once a week? Then what if I told you that 50% of the men in your church and 20% of the women are addicted to pornography? You would probably say, how can that be? And we've talked to hundreds of pastors across the country. Some hear those statistics and say, not in my church. Some say it's worse than that. What do you think? And we can talk about statistics all day long, and we can argue about the surveys that have been conducted. But when it comes down to it, all this research tells us is that we're facing a crisis of epidemic proportions, and it's time for us to do something about it. But it's not about numbers. It's about people. People you know and people you love. Think about the people who are closest to you who might be struggling. Think about you. Where do you stand on this? There's a stigma surrounding this issue that makes it difficult to talk about. And we've ignored it so long that it's no longer about those people who meet in a recovery group once a week. It's no longer about them. It really is about us. All of us are affected in some way. At Freedom Begins Here, we want to provide you with the tools to help you begin the conversation about pornography and sexual sin, and then equip you to do something about it. We've partnered with the best in the world to bring you the most relevant solutions possible. We've included Dr. Gary Smalley, America's leading marriage expert. He shares from his 30 years of ministry experience. Gary's pastor, Ted Cunningham, shares from his pastoral experience of dealing with this issue in his church. We've included Mark Laser, the leading Christian authority on sexual addiction. We've included Covenant Eyes accountability software trials. We've partnered with the Christian band Rush of Fools to bring attention to the crisis. We spent the better part of a year traveling the country, capturing real stories from real people. People who have been addicted, people who are now living in freedom, people whose spouses were addicted, pastors who were addicted, young, old, men, women from all walks of life. But none that you would say, well, they're just a little out there. No, these are church leaders, community leaders, good people who got caught up in the lies and fantasies of pornography. And we have to break the stigma that people who are addicted to pornography are perverts or outcasts. It's just not true. So, church leaders, retailers, pastors, everyone who's watching this, we are challenging you to be part of the solution. How amazing would it be to see a revolution of freedom begin to take place in the lives of people you know? How about in your own life? This is not an easy issue to tackle. We know that. We've been working on this material for over 4 years and have encountered more spiritual warfare than we could have ever imagined. But we won't give up, and we need people like you to stand with us by getting equipped with the Freedom Begins Here material. Be bold, be ready, and most of all, be committed to helping people find freedom.